सहना भवतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्याप्य सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। ओम शांति शांति शांति। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् रुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। ॐ त्र्यम्बकं यजामहे सुगन्धिं पुष्टिवर्धनम् उर्वारुकमिव बन्धनात् मृत्योर्मुक्षीयमामृतात्। Trayambakam Rajamahe. We have seen the complete vast meaning of what yajna means, what yajamahe means. What do we call as worship? Worship is seva with gratitude. We've also seen that it means adoration, remembrance, surrender. And the best form of remembrance is constant repetition of the mantra. So we've seen the whole depth meaning. And also, wonderful is that in the Bhagavad Gita it is said, Yagyat bhavati parjanya. That from yajna comes rain. In the highest sense, the right climatic conditions of the environment. And there are two environments, the external environment and the internal environment. The internal environment, the right mood of your mind, the right attitude of your mind. And in the external world, it is the right atmosphere for productivity, therefore rain. And did you realize yesterday that when we just completed about the explanation of the word yajna, it poured. And no rain after that, no rain before that. And it is said, yajnat bhavati parjanya. So see, literally also it is true. You must have listened with such attention that Bhagwan showered rain also. It always happens. There's no joke. In Gita it is said. So even literally, you have seen that the right climatic atmosphere takes place. And see how the atmosphere, which was so hot, cooled down, became so refreshing. You are free of allergies, all that itchy feeling. This is exactly what happens internally also. Now we proceed to understand the remaining words of the mantra and how they link up. So, Trayambakam yajamahe, I adore, remember, worship, surrender. To whom? Trayambakam, the one with 3 eyes, one who yields the 3 Shaktis or the 3 powers, one who is the Lord of the 3 states, the 3 worlds. Understanding. But the word Sugandhim has also been translated in our scriptures as that which is well remembered. Yeah. Who is well remembered, also meaning one who is well adored. Also apnoti, that which pervades or spreads everywhere. And the very nature of fragrance also how it is. You might light an agarbatti right there in the corner, but its fragrance permeates the entire room, permeates the entire air. Which also means that Sugandhi means one who is all pervading. Now, what is all pervading? That which is present in each and every minute atom also. And that is existence or Sat. And therefore, one who is of the nature of Sat. There can be nothing without existence, and everything that we experience is because it has existence as its substratum. Therefore, the all-pervading truth or reality is also called as Sugandhim. Also meaning that one who is well remembered, which means one who is famous, well known. That's also the meaning of Sugandhim. Now you say, how well remembered? Actually, we always praise dogs because even in the childhood, if that dog would have met you, that dog remembers you. And actually, if you carefully observe, there are 2 ways of remembrance. One is you constantly keep on repeating. The other is that whenever you smell something, it reminds you of even something in the distant past. In fact, smell has got a greater link with your memory compared to any other sense organ. Taste we forget very quickly. Touch also we forget. But you know that fragrance, even now when you pass by say, a bakery, why do you feel so good? It reminds you of that cake or that bun that your mother would have baked for you on your birthday, which made you feel. There's a lot of association, memory, and fragrance. Therefore, fragrance means one who is well remembered. And in that sense, one who is very famous. Even now, don't you remember the fragrance of that sambar that your mother used to? And that's why even when anybody makes sambar, you just know it's not right. Because there is a memory of that fragrance. Reminds you. Like if you go into many places where all Indians congregate, some buildings are like that, some colonies are like that. And it's so, and you feel you've come into little India. See, immediately that association, it has that. You mothers will understand. No? Yeah? Sometimes I wonder, what do they like the smell of those nappies? But whenever they see any child, they tend to hug that child because it reminds them of their days of initial motherhood. The remembrance. And remembered means one who is well remembered, means one who is famous, well known. Now you say, really speaking, in this world, who remembers God? But one who is famous, one who is well remembered. Which means, where is it that you cannot remember the Lord? Whenever you look at creation, Ishasya Kavyam, this whole creation is the poetry of the Lord. Everything is so beautiful, it can only make us remember and remind us, whether we see the might and the power, or we see the beauty and the charm. Even if we see the ferocious and the terror, does it not remind us of the Lord? In short, if we say that Yajamahe, we have to constantly remember the Lord, where is it that we cannot remember the Lord? Don't say that, oh, life, everything is not that beautiful. You know what, when a volcano erupts, there are people who go to photograph that volcano. People make it as a tourist place. When a tsunami comes, a tidal wave comes, it's terror for you if you are there and your building is there. Otherwise, everybody wants to photograph it and they want to see movies on it, is it not? How beautiful is even a storm? And even the difficulties in your life that brought you to this country, and now the life is so beautiful, it is because of those difficulties only. So where is it that the beauty, the charm, the love, the compassion of the Lord is not seen? In fact, there are wonderful stories. One very holy man, a sannyasi, was wandering around, happened to reach a red light area. And there used to be a very beautiful damsel dancer. All young people used to wait under her building because they didn't have the money to go and see her dance in the evening. So they used to actually wait for her to come out in the morning to dry her long hair. That charm nowadays you can't see, but no, drying her long hair. And she also knew that many young admirers would come, because at night only those who had rich money, they were old people. No? And she would come out to dry her hair, and of course feel really good that all these young people, all these handsome street guys would gather there just to have a sight of her. One day, a young sadhu was passing from there. And he also happened to look at her and remained there transfixed. She felt very honored that she's being admired even by a renunciate. But even all the young people walked away. But that sadhu kept on looking up there only. She went even inside a little bit embarrassed. And from a window she peeps. He's still looking at the balcony. Finally, she sent her maid down and said, call him inside. And when he inside, she said, I do feel honored that you are staring at me, but even these young worldly people are gone to their work. Yeah. And you still are waiting, staring at me. Suddenly he got up. He says, I was not staring at you. When I looked at you and saw your beauty, वो कितना सुंदर होगा, whose creation is so beautiful, the cause, the creator, how beautiful he must be, whose creation is so mighty, how mighty that creator must be. Bhishasmat vata pavate bhisho deti suryaha. In whose fear even the mighty cosmic forces which are feared by everyone, they remain in the law. Yeah? How mighty he must be. How beautiful he must be. And where is it that you cannot see that? One great saint poet, Swami Brahmanand, has said, जिधर भी देखूं, जहां भी देखूं, बस तू एक मुझको दिखा रहा है. That where is it that you cannot see the presence of that truth, that pure existence? Because everything exists. Where is it that you cannot see that beauty manifest? In the blooming of the flower, in the smile of a, I won't say child, a person. Even in the might of the universe, in the twinkling of the stars, or everywhere you can see. So where is it that we can say we forget the Lord? Where is it that we cannot meditate? It reminds me also that once when Gurudev was in Hong Kong, and all the students who were attending my classes there, they were of course, waiting to be with the presence of Gurudev. And Gurudev did not like people just sitting and staring at him. Discourses, of course, but normally sitting there, he said, I'm not a Darshan Swami. Don't waste your time, don't waste my time. Though even sitting in his presence was bliss. All that. Duty comes there only. We are going there. It's a waste of time. Gurudev Srila, you there, and we have to constantly remember the Lord. How can we remember the Lord? People are only drinking, eating, gossiping. And I tell you, what a master Gurudev. He had known that I had just recently taught them Kena Upanishad. So he said, you go to the party. Where is it that you can't remember the Lord? Of course, there will be many Shiva devotees who say, yeah, of course, I can remember the Lord. Don't think that Lord Shiva drank any bhang. Yeah? Don't give that excuse. In Sufi poetry, in our bhakti literature, जिसको प्रेम का नशा चढ़ा हुआ है, not that afim, bhang or anything. Don't go on saying that. So, how will you remember the truth, the reality of Lord? He said, when that over made up, because the ladies were asking the question, no? The over made up. Yeah. With her hairs like Surpanakha. Yeah. Nails all colored. Long nails like Surpanakha. And when she comes there and she goes on sipping to you, Keneshitam. Propelled by whom or by what? Yeah. Which Lord? That this ugly mouth can talk. Yeah. What is it that moves this ugly mouth? You shift your attention from her words to her ugly mouth to that because of which that mouth can move. Where is it that you cannot meditate? Where is it that truth is not evident? That's the meaning of Sugandhim, well remembered, famous. Everywhere you are reminded of that existence, of that consciousness, of that beauty, which is Satyam, Shivam, Sundaram. That's why Sugandhim. Also I mentioned that Sugandhim means all-pervading, well-remembered, famous. And who is more famous than God? Others come and go. For every generation, all said and done, one person who is most popular is God. Whether they say, a quarter of the people might say that they are non-believers. But when there's a problem, they go to the famous Lord only, is it not? Third is, He's the Lord of all virtues. Because fragrance is something that when it is spread in the room, not only it is all pervading, but at the same time, it reminds you of the temple. If it's a agarbatti or certain flowers, it reminds you of the temple. But the beauty of the fragrance is that even it permeates your clothes. That's why anyone can tell you whether you came from a bar or whether you came from a temple. Because you'll be either be smelling of a cigarette or an incense stick. Yeah. It permeates you. Yeah. Fragrance is that which leaves a fragrance behind on you also. And one of the greatest virtues, which is an expression of love, is acceptance and forgiveness. Yeah? And therefore, about forgiveness, the example itself is given. Be like the tulsi leaf. Yeah? Itself is so fragrant, but it leaves a fragrance behind even on the hands that crush it. And thus, Bhagwan Shivji, the Lord of the universe, is considered also as Ashutosh, the one who is easily pleased. Yeah. And He is the greatest forgiver. In forgiveness also, in forgiveness, you have to understand. Most people will mention this word forgiveness means if there's a question answer session, oh, there'll be a lot of questions on forgiveness. Somebody's done like that, somebody blah. So who do you forgive? Who's done nothing? The highest form of forgiveness is that of Mother Earth. You step on her, you spit on her, and yet she keeps on nourishing you, is it not? Yeah. How many crimes have we committed towards our parents, especially mothers? From womb onward, we kick her. Yeah. As we grow up also, she is the one person we can back answer. Daddy, the drama will come. Yeah? Mom, we can back answer. Who do we hurt the most? And how many mothers have said, I forgive you? Does she? Because everything is an expression of the Lord only. Just as every limb is an expression of you only. And therefore, how often does your finger poke your eye? Does your finger say next time that, next time so that you can burn? Does it say that? How many times your teeth have bitten your tongue? Does your tongue go to the dentist and say, take them out? Or do you even have to say, I forgive you for what you did not know you did? The highest form of love is that you do not even have to forgive. In fact, there is a story. There was a lady saint. Her name also is unknown, but it's a real story. And especially in the villages, anybody claims some saintlyhood, whether they are men or women. Yeah? The local pandit or priest, they generally never liked it because their popularity would go away. They spoke from their heart. These pandits, it was their profession only. So one day, one of the priests thought, I will expose her to the public. In the satsang, he comes to her and says, I hear every day you say that you meet Krishna. Then, if you do meet Krishna, ask him, what is that sin I have committed which no one knows other than I and obviously God? He said he'll trap her because nobody knows about it. So if she's bluffing and random, you cannot guess. And even if she guesses, he can always say to the public that that's not it, she's lying, and expose her, that she's a fraud. Next day he came. He says, so did you meet Krishna? She said, yeah. Did you ask him, what is that sin that I have committed in private that nobody knows of? She said, I asked Krishna. And Krishna replied that I have forgotten him. Tell him, why is he remembering it? Yeah. Therefore, highest forgiveness is that you do not even feel offended. But if you do forgive in such a way, you say, how can I forgive? I can forgive, but I can't forget. Which means you don't keep on brooding over it all the time. Like, when husband and wife had a quarrel. And generally advise, these are added bonuses. Yeah. Generally the advice given to couples is that, I've heard from elders, that two people living together, they will rattle a bit. There will be some noise. There will be some quarrels. But before you go to bed at night, you must resolve it or forgive and forget. So one day they had this big quarrel with each other, but as usual, they used to follow the elders' advice. So finally, of course, it was convinced that he was wrong as always. He's generally wrong. So he said, okay, let's forgive and forget. She also said, forgive and forget. But men have very short memories. They forget birthdays, they forget wedding anniversaries. Maybe things that they don't want to remember, but they forget. And especially if they're wrong most of the time, they would want to forget. Otherwise they can't survive. Totally lack of confidence then. But wives have got super memories. And I generally say, if a marriage can survive in the car, it will survive. Yeah. She said, suddenly, go left. He says, go left, right. Achha, so go right. Yeah. And then, if he makes a wrong turn, he will not turn. One mistake of turning. Yeah. Not understanding, because their left and right was totally confused. For 20 years, she reminded him of that mistake that he did. Finally, one day he got frustrated and he said, I thought, you forgave and forgot. She said, of course I have forgiven and forgotten, but I don't want you to forget that I have forgiven and forgotten. That is no forgiveness. You don't keep on thinking about it again. Not that it's wiped out of your memory, but you don't keep on thinking about it. Third is that we also make mistakes. People also make mistakes. At least forgive them. But forgiveness is not a favor you do on anyone else but on yourself. Forgiveness is freedom. If you can get my talk on potential to performance, in one of those talks I have given, forgive and be free. It's such an important aspect of our life. Do you know sometimes diseases that paralyzes you, that doesn't allow you to move, can be due to you holding on to certain past grievances. Now, I can't go on elaborating on too many things because, after all, but just to make you understand that what does Sugandhi mean? Even certain health issue, I do not know if that book Journey into Health is there. Get that. Even some of the diseases that people have can so easily got rid of by just letting go, and that is forgiving. I've given many real forgive and be free. It's not a favor on someone else. The time, a heen that, because whatever you remember, you experience again. Now you understand the importance of remembrance. You remember the Lord, and that moment you are in bliss. And we keep in our mind remembrance of all grievances, people who have done wrong to us, or even sometimes our own wrong and mistakes that we have done. Not realizing that how it brings down our confidence level. Therefore, Sugandhim, and if he forgives and does not remember our sins, that is our Bhagwan. Yeah? Why are you holding on to it? Yeah. And you know that, no? That when you get the embrace of someone who has got a certain fragrance on themselves, that fragrance lingers on you or not. And thus, when we are constantly in remembrance of the Lord, his or her virtues also rubs upon us. And the sign of a devotee is that he becomes as fragrant as the Lord, as virtuous as the Lord. Therefore, in Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavan Krishna says, Yasmano dvijate lokaha, lokano dvijate chayah. When people used to ask Gurudev, what is the sign of that I am growing spiritually? Or I am growing in my devotion. Everybody would like to feel, I don't know, Shivoham, Shiva. I shout and scream at everyone, don't come near my Swami. People are like that or not? Gurudev had clearly pointed out that how much more lovable people think you are. How much you are there. You can say, I love everybody. I love everybody. And go and hug a tree. And the mother is in the hospital, whom you have not visited for a long time. How much more loving selfishness has ended when there is love? How much more ready and happy to give, to serve? And how much you are peaceful and blissful within. Not that you suddenly saw light, no, or even saw the image of Bhagwan. You understand, Duryodhana also saw Bhagwan. Nothing happened to him. Yeah? Even in his presence, he was as obnoxious as ever. Sugandhim, whose fragrance, even once you come in the presence of that Lord, in your mind, has to leave a fragrance behind. That's why whenever anybody, even for a brief moment, came in touch with Gurudev, it left behind such a powerful memory and something about him that they went admiring and they strived to become. See? Therefore, Trayambakam yajamahe sugandhim. Larger sense, that is the meaning of, we just repeat Sugandhim, Sugandhim, very fragrant, very beautiful. But Sugandhim pushti vardhanam. And all this meaning is not, if you read the book, I have given all the quotes from the Upanishads, from the scriptures, so that you can constantly reflect on those mantras and statements. Pushti, to nourish. Vardhanam, grow. So in a way it means one who nourishes our growth. Makes us grow. One who nourishes us. But I thought Lord Vishnu is the nourisher. Lord Shiva is the destroyer. Read Shiv Puran. Really speaking, these distinctions are not there in our scriptures. Sa Brahma, Sa Vishnu, Sa Indra, Sokshara Paramaswarat. There is only one. Some call him Vishnu, some call him Ishvara, some call him Maheshwara, some call him Brahma, some call him Krishna, some call him Rama. There is no confusion. And therefore you read any Purana, and therefore those who become devotees, oh no, Shiva is greater than Vishnu, no, Vishnu is greater than Shiva. There is no such conflict. Remove it from your minds. These distinctions are not there. In Vishnu Puran, Shivji has come from Brahmaji and Brahmaji has come from the navel of Vishnu. The story is there in Shiv Puran also. But in Shiv Puran, one who is the creator and nourisher of Brahma and Vishnu. So Shivji is also the nourisher also. So one who provides. And really speaking, if you think about it, if the plants did not die or the fruits did not fall, would you be able to eat anything? Live animals. So really speaking, who provides for you? Destroyer only provides, no? Therefore, he is the nourisher. Now, when you say the word nourisher, see, food you can go and eat in the restaurant also, but every time you come from a restaurant, it was very delicious, very tasty, but you come and like, you may be full, but you go back to Chennai and your grandmother with no manicured hands, almost black nails, when she just mixes some curds with a few condiments in it, and with her hand smashes it and then puts in your mouth. Anything can be more nourishing than that? Tell me. When you go back to Amritsar, and where there are no microwaves, and your grandmother or mother makes those aloo parothas and then wallops it with fresh butter, and then crumples it and puts it in your mouth. Anything can be more nourishing than that? The nourisher of the universe is love. Therefore, when sage Vashishta gave Bharat the name, he said, "Jo sabka bharan boshan kare, usi ka naam Bharat hai." You say, we never hear Bharat going and feeding everybody. But the feeder of the universe, the nourisher of the universe, is love. Where there is love, the world is nourished. So not only makes us grow, but nourishes our growth, vitalizes our growth, makes our growth spontaneous and easy. So Pushti Vardhanam. In Bhagavad Gita it was said that when you live in the spirit of Yajna, then there is both. And where there is Yajna, there is Dharma. Where there is Dharma, there is Abhyudaya and Nishreya. Abhyudaya, prosperity. And Nishreya, spiritual growth, peace, love, harmony. And then wherever we live a life of Dharma, and what is the essence of Dharma, and what constitutes adharma? Goswami Tulsidas ji has very clearly pointed out in simple words. Selfishness leads to adharma, and I wouldn't like to use the word selflessness, because nowadays we are so I, that everything is I. iPad, iPhone, iPod. Yeah? We become an I family. It's not an us family. It is not a we family. It's a I family. That's why one father told me. He says, my little child is an iPod child. My son is an iPhone. My wife is an iPad. I said, who are you? He says, I pay. All this I, individuality and selfishness that comes from it, is that where people become greedy. We don't care how the world or anybody else will suffer. That is adharma. I should get what I want. Therefore, dharma is when you include others in yourself, which is self-inclusive, not self-exclusive. Therefore, Lord Shiva rides the bull. That animal now yield and takes the minimum and brings about maximum productivity. That's why we worship the cow, the bull, producing more than what we consume and giving more than what we take. This is the essence of dharma. So Pushti Vardhanam, one who inspires us to live a life of dharma. And in that dharma, what do we get? Prosperity, one who nourishes or makes us grow prosperous, even prosperous. And one who makes us grow in our love, in our dedication, in our meditation, in our spiritual growth, in our peace, harmony, in our knowledge. That is called as Pushti Vardhanam. So, 3 names with which Lord Shiva is called, which covers the entire glory of Ishvara in its meaning, which Bhagavan Shri Krishna himself says, that if you were to list his vibhutis or glory, it is endless. But in these 3 words, the great Rishi has discovered the complete aspect of the glory of Ishvara and also the nature of the Lord. In Trayambakam, the Lord of compassion, justice and wisdom. In Sugandhim, the Lord of virtues. And in Pushti Vardhanam, the Lord of righteousness, the Lord of love. And the secret of our prosperity is in this word Pushti Vardhanam. One who nourishes our growth. Now, what truly nourishes us? We said love is the nourisher. And when love comes into our heart, or there is someone who gives us love, and what if it was not in our life, we would not even want to live? What is that? Tell me. If happiness was not there in your life, would you want to live? Now tell me. If in your family you are not happy, do you want the family? If in your work you are not happy doing the work, will you be productive? Therefore, Pushti Vardhanam means he is the giver of happiness. Today again I got one research paper. Yeah? Research paper. On my WhatsApp I just get good things. Yeah? Research paper from Harvard, which I was telling you about. Yeah? The research on how to be happier. You come, worship Lord Shiva, Lord Krishna, because Pushti Vardhanam, they are Ananda Swarupaha. He is of the very nature of bliss. And therefore, see, if you see, even though the word Triambakam reveals all the three indicators of the nature of the Lord, in Triambakam, the one consciousness that pervades the three states, so Chit, Sugandhim, that all-pervading essence, existence, Sat, and Pushtivardhan, that which nourishes everyone, is Ananda or bliss. That Paramatma who is Sat, Chit and Ananda is indicated in these three words, Triambakam, Sugandhim and Ananda. And Yajamahe, I self to him. Now we can only offer ourselves to him. Naivedyam. But he picks us up and makes us one with him. See? You can only offer the food, Naivedyam, to the Lord. It's the Lord who has to eat the food. And when anyone eats the food becomes one with the eater. And therefore this last line, Urva Rukamiva Bandhanat. Mrityor Mukshiya. Mukshiya, free me, liberate me. And we know that we can never be happy even if you are given all the pleasures. Now, for example, you came into this hall, right? You came out of your own wish, no? Nobody just chained you or emotionally blackmailed you and brought you here. You came out of your own choice. First day, she must have pushed you. Yeah. Mother may have pushed you. Afterwards you came of your choice, no? And if you did not enjoy, would you come back again? If you didn't find it beneficial, would you come back again? Tell me. You would not, is it not? Now you are here out of your choice. Why? Because you enjoyed. So were you getting Ananda or not? Listening to it also you were getting Ananda? Yes or no? Okay, doesn't matter. I forgive you, for you know not even what you got. At least now I can see you laughing. Chalo, at least. Yeah. So, now suppose it happened. When I was taking classes and these are all nice experiences in Hong Kong, Australia, I didn't have many experiences that are exciting to narrate. But in Hong Kong, when I used to take classes, and of course, our Chinmaya mission, we start on time, end on time. So, we got into this thing that, everybody to come on time and, Indian Standard Time, and that too also in a highly, metropolitan city like Hong Kong. And they were all used to time. But other than that, anybody else comes into, they wait for the hall to get fully packed. Then the speaker will come into the hall. Anyway, somebody had come into town, very popular those days. So everybody was excited to go and listen to him. They invited me also to come. So that's the only one rare day I did not have an evening session. So I said, okay, I'll also go. So I also went there. We were waiting. The talk was at 7 o'clock. Till 8:15, this person did not come. And it's quite common. 8:15, he did not come. Finally, 8:15, he came, and he was quite a very eloquent speaker, spoke very well. People were also enjoying. Not that they were not enjoying. But now that he has come at 8:15, And he's got so much to say. So he went on. Session was supposed to end at 8:30. He went on till 9:15. 9:30. One elderly Amma got up from the chair behind and she couldn't sit. So she started walking. He said, "Hey, Mai, bed ja. You sit there. Nobody is leaving the hall." Compulsory. Nobody is leaving the hall. And he tells also, when I was in so-and-so place, there I took the sessions till 1 o'clock at night. Nobody leaves the hall. Now you could see, it's not that people were not enjoying. They were enjoying his talk. Now that he said, I don't know when I am going to stop. Now there are many housewives sitting there. They did not come with their back home. So they started getting, till tonight they were actually enjoying themselves. Nobody wanted to get up. This old lady got up. But now that he says, I don't know when I'm going to stop. Don't worry, I'm not telling you that. See, already you're getting nervous, no? I mean, I would like to stay. I would like that you would prolong. Maybe you take one more day and stay back, Swamiji. All that you might say, But if I say you cannot get up from here till I finish, you may want to stay back, but because I say you cannot. Try that with any youngster. Yeah? The moment you know that you are caged, limited, restricted, do you revolt or not? Don't think some moksha is some esoteric thing that will happen. Something will happen and they'll get moksha. Moment to moment, we can be happy only in freedom. When we talk about our country becoming free, we want freedom from our parents so that we can do whatever we want. But do we have freedom from our own mind? One simple question. Do you have freedom to be happy? We all want to be happy. But do you have freedom to be happy? Can you guarantee that after another half an hour, even just half an hour, you're in this atmosphere, you're happy, you're cheerful, everybody's so loving, you're listening to something wonderful about yourself, everything may be there. But can you guarantee that in half an hour you will be happy? Somebody while removing the car bangs into your car or wears one of your slippers and walks away. Next moment, look at your happiness is dependent on how many things. Mukshiya, free me. Mrityoho, all the meaning of mrityo we have already explained in the beginning only. So, free me from death. And what is death? As I said, when you fall from your fame also is death. But have you realized that you are the infinite existence, consciousness, bliss? You all are Ananda Swarupa. So all are Swaroopanandas here. Huh? And then look at everybody. Rote kyo? Surat hi aisi hai. Why are you crying? My face only is like that. I don't know if you've heard of that very knowledgeable saint, Nisargadatta Maharaj, who wrote the book, I Am That. He was a pan bidi wala in Bombay. And one day went up to a Mahatma and everybody's got problems. He said, please bless me, please bless me. No? And when you go to a doctor, you hear, even if you meet them in the temple and say, I'm a doctor. Oh, but doctor, can you see this? What? Very confused. Swamis also, when you see that the moment the problems come up immediately, he went up and then said that, bless me. That Mahatma also must have been some great Mahatma. He said, Cha! You are a mass of bliss. Anand ghan ho tum. You have the very nature of happiness and you are miserable? Chak, go away from you. He held on only to that one line of his guru, that bliss is my nature. Every time sorrow came to his mind, he only went on inquiring that if my guru has told me I am bliss, then from where has this sorrow come? Like Ramana Maharishi started inquiring and found out that all our sorrows are only mind imagined. But we have no control over our mind. And we lived in the limitations of our body, mind and intellect and become this limited perceiver, feeler, thinker, constantly wanting to complete ourselves from this ever-changing, perished, finite world of object, emotions and thoughts. A beggar of the world where all and people want to go for all these quick fixes of joy or happiness, not recognizing that only in Vrindavan and Madhuvan, Rasavai Saha, that is Ras Leela. And yet, we think ourselves to be this limited, finite individual. This is bondage. This is death. Death is for the body, never for the consciousness, the Atma. Therefore, this bandhan itself is mrityu, and mrityu is bandhan. Finitude is bandhan. And he says, Urva Rukamiva Bandhanat. One meaning of Urva Ruka, Arukam also means disease. And we have this constant disease of becoming. See, when you joined as a fresher, you want to become a manager. The manager wants to become the senior manager. The senior manager wants to become the chief executive officer. The chief executive officer wants to become the managing director. The managing director wants to want to acquire other companies and become the chairman. All the time, become. This is called as Bhava Roga. This disease of constant change and becoming. And we take ourselves from one bondage to a bigger bondage. And what is a disease? That which causes dis-ease. Guruji has so beautifully explained in his book, Jnana Sar, another wonderful book to read. Complete essence of spiritual knowledge in just 18 verses. Complete knowledge. And who is a baddha? Who is bound? Somebody says, I'm not bound. I'm a free person. I can do whatever I want to do. He says very clearly, besides giving all the aspects of baddha, he says, Yah dukhi sa baddha. One who is sad is bound. So if everybody has got sorrow in their life, which means bondage is there. And that sorrow, that only causes all the physical diseases also. That agitation. The other beautiful meaning is Urva Rukamiva Bandhanat. That free me from this disease of this becoming, this world of change, mrityu, just as effortlessly a ripe cucumber or a ripe pumpkin is freed from the creeper. Now it is very interesting, that a creeper has such big fruits. Have you seen the pumpkin or the zucchini? And cucumber also, not the small cucumbers, but all the big fruits grows on karma ki gati nyari, as Mirabai says. And the small berries and fruits grow on trees. That's why one day Akbar, he's a king. So one day he was walking with Birbal, and he was taking a leisure walk in the garden, and there were, of course, pumpkins growing and apples growing and mangoes growing. So he was walking from there, and he says, Birbal, don't you think your God, is mismanaging? Such a big watermelon is growing on a creeper, and such a small mango is growing on a tree. Birbal didn't say anything, but just when he was walking under the tree, one fell on his head, like an apple fell on Newton's head, and then comes Eureka, So, fell on his head. And Birbal had to just see. Don't misunderstand the wisdom of the Lord. Imagine if that kalingar fell on your head. That melon fell on your head. See, our problem is that we accept that Lord is almighty. We accept also that He is all loving and compassionate, and He will give us whatever we want. But we do not trust His wisdom that He will give us what is good for us, and know it even before we know it. So, just as the ripe cucumber. Now you see, normally, when do you say a fruit naturally falls from the tree? When it becomes ripe. And when it becomes ripe, its stem or the umbilical cord, which links it with the tree, the stem, it itself shrivels up, dries off, and and that's why, really speaking, when our children say, oh, is not a plant also life? So why don't we eat animals? We are eating plants anyway. Really speaking, our grandmothers used to teach us, do not even pluck a flower, it pains the tree. You eat grains when the tree has already dried up, or the plant has already dried up. Even fruits should not be plucked until and unless they are so ripe that you just hold them and it falls down. That's why Sitaji told also Hanumanji. He said, I'm hungry in Lanka. She says, my son, pick up only fallen fruits. One thing, they are ripe. So Hanumanji found that all these Rakshasas are eaten. So he just shook the tree. And by merely shaking the tree, those were ripe fruits. And the fruits that are ripened on the tree are the sweetest. That's why I told you that when do you know that you are spiritually progressed? When all your learning and knowledge and viveka has fructified and you have ripened spiritually. If you are a mango, only when you are yellow or orange you can say you are ripened. You didn't get the hint. Okay. Yeah? Only when you've got vairagya. And for us, vairagya is like plucking the fruit out of the tree when it is unripe. That only creates suppression, pain. It sounds to us. Therefore, urvarukam bandhanat. Effortlessly free me. Which means that let me ripen in my vairagya. And how does this vairagya comes? In Ram Gita, Bhagavan says, Dharamate bhirati jogate jnana jnana moksha pradabeda bhakana. That when you live in the spirit of yajna, when you worship, when you constantly remember, when you live in gratitude, then the result of performance of your duties, performance of dharma, And duty is not only me and my family. You have your professional duty, you have your social duties, you have your spiritual duties, you have your community duties, national duties. But when you live a life of dharma, the result of that is vairagya. Dharamate birati. And what is birati? Don't think that it is, oh my God. Vairagya means leave everything, sit on a rock on the Ganges and become a rock. Vairagya is a growth. Vairagya, no longer are you dependent on things, beings, situations for your happiness. Such a person only can be a giver of love. So this ripening, urva rukam iva, this ripening is that give me that vairagya, give me that dispassion. Even there it is very difficult. Something wonderful happens. In a tree, gravity is there to pull the fruit down. In the creeper, that doesn't happen. But when the fruit is ripened, the creeper itself dries up, withers, and moves away from the fruit. Let the world fizzle away from me. Don't pluck me from the world. In a way also, for a person who has fulfilled his life by doing his or her dharma, when death comes, that death is an effortless death. For those who are attached to things and beings, it seems as though the Lord of Death has to pull out that soul, and they are reluctant to go. So they remain, suffering in that body. Therefore, mrityor mukshiya urva rukamiva bandhanat. Free me from that. See how beautiful it is. Let the creeper itself wither away. When I was contemplating on this mantra over the years, and the day I know I had to speak, and it had to be a complete talk, because from that this book was supposed to come out. And somebody that day sent me a message that there is Gurudev's talk on the internet, and it is in America or Australia that he has spoken on this Maha Mrtyunjaya mantra. And Gurudev gives such a wonderful twist to this. He says, just as a cucumber or a melon, when the creeper has moved away from it, it lies there. And if it lies there, it will rot and spread the seed and become a competition again to the whole creeper. That pumpkin requires the gardener to come and lift him up. And who is that gardener? Sada Shiva Samarambhat Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Shri Guru Paramparam. Our Guru himself is that Trayambakam, the one who has got the 3 eyes, whose glory is spread round the world, who has nourished our growth. And that Guru is the one who comes, and we pray that may he come and effortlessly lift us up. And what is our surrender? You sit there becoming an offering to him, and he lifts you up. Urva rukamiva bandhanat mrityor mukshiya. And how is it possible? Yajamahi. And when we remember him constantly, 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 when we and we, in gratitude, offer everything to him. Tera tujhko arpan. Mera mujh mein kachu nahi. Jo kuch hai so tera. And we leave ourselves there. The Guru comes, gives us this knowledge, and makes us one with him. That's the meaning of Urva Rukamiva Bandhanat. The Lord himself comes as the Guru and lifts us up with this knowledge, his love, his compassion, and makes us one with him. So Urva Rukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiya Mamrita. And the greatest death explained in our Upanishads is Pramado Vai Mrityuhu. Our forgetfulness of the Lord and the truth, and hence the identification with remembrance is freedom or bliss. And if you doubt this statement, try forgetting the wedding anniversary and try remembering the wedding anniversary. You know the answer there only. Therefore, Guru Arjan Dev Sahib says, Simar, Simar, Sukha Pawa. All we have to do is remember. That is meditation. Constant remembrance is constant meditation. How simple is that? But until you tell someone to stand still, and then for many years, when somebody opens your third eye, and then when you meditate, and then after many, many years, then when you die, the Guru will come there and then take you through all the journey, and then, if you're really been good enough, then you will reach. Constant remembrance, yajamahe. Remaining, let him do it. Tera tujhko. And one request is, Ma Amritat. Let me not fall away. Ma means never. Amritat, from this immortality. Let me never forget the eternal nature of mine. Let me not forget the eternal. May I never forget this. Do you know, when I was studying Guru Nanak Sahib's Japji Sahib, one of the first compositions of Shri Guru Nanak Sahib in the Guru Granth Sahib, where he says, Mat vich ratana juara manika ki de sabne ka data na jai. Inexplicable in mind if I do not forget the teaching of my one Guru, or one teaching of my Guru. And one secret my Guru has revealed to me, that there is only one giver of all the beings. May I never ever forget it. This forgetfulness is death. That's why the prayer is, may I never forget you. May I, so main visar na jai, Maha Mrtyunjaya. And I'll conclude with one simple, beautiful story from the Ramayana. You know, when the monkeys were laying the Vanars were laying Ram, and the stones were floating, Ram himself was quite amazed by it, and he said, if by taking my name, the stones will float, or are floating, what if I put it with my own hands? Just like when Ganesh was drinking milk, everybody was quite apprehensive to try it out, because what if he doesn't drink the milk you give? Anyway, you remember that story, right? Young ones will not know. But, So he went far away on the shore and picked up a stone, looked around, nobody was watching, and he dropped the stone in the water. The vanars and the bears, the monkeys and the bears are throwing the water saying, Ram, Ram. It is floating. When Ram himself puts the stone, it drowns. And just when you have done something that you are embarrassed about, somebody is watching. And who was watching? Hanumanji was watching Ramchandraji. He was watching Ramchandraji. So Bhagwan, he said, that when you dropped the stone, yeah, I saw. So he said, I can't understand this. Yeah, these monkeys are taking my name and the stone is floating. And I put a stone in the water and it falls. And Hanumanji replied, Hindi is very beautiful. Bhagwan, आपके नाम से तो पर्वत भी तैर जाएंगे. बट जिसको आप गिरा दोगे तो वो डूबेगा नहीं तो क्या तैरेगा? Lord, even if I were to forget you. Have you heard that song that Guruji has sung? Tvam hin ho neta, in a Hindi song also. संभव है झंझटों में तुझको मैं भूल जाऊं, पर नाथ कभी तुम मुझको ना भुला देना. Even in the Upanishad it says, Maham Brahma Nirakuryam, Ma Brahma Nirakarod, Anirakarnastvam Nirakarname. It's gone. Right? Oh Lord, may I never forget you, abandon you. May you never abandon me. May there be no mutual abandoning of each other. So, Ma Amritat, may I never forget you and may you never let me fall. May you never let me forget you. That is the beautiful mantra. So we'll just chant it, and with our Gurudev's grace, who revealed this beautiful mantra to us, the great sage Vashishji, who revealed this mantra, we invoke the blessings of the Lord, the great rishis, our Gurudev. We invoke the Lord with the three eyes, and every day chant this mantra, not only at the time of death, not only at the time of illnesses, but this is a meditative mantra which reveals to us the identity between the Jivatma and Paramatma. Yajamahe, when the ego is surrendered, that all which we recognize as our own true nature by the knowledge given, commentary, make it your knowledge. And afterwards, when you chant, you don't have to repeat the meaning. Even now, you cannot help but the right feelings, the meaning come to your mind. With the chanting of the mantra, as the mind becomes quiet. With devotion, when the mind is purified, full of virtues. And with this knowledge you have already gained, you abide in this truth. Om Trayambakam Yajvardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiya Mritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyama Mritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor Mukshiyamamritat. Om Trayambakam Yajamahe Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam Urvarukamiva Bandhanat Mrityor. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah. Asato ma sadgamaya tamaso ma jyotirgamaya mrityorma amritam gamaya. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om. So we'll have a short aarti and you can come and take your prasad. And till we meet again, make life a blissful journey. Next year, the Maha Samadhi camp, being the 25th anniversary of Gurudev's Maha Samadhi, will be in the place where Gurudev dropped this mortal coil. It is going to be in San Diego. So, hope to see many of you there, or at Hanuman Mastak Abhishek at Sitbadi this October. If you can come, wonderful. Once in a 5 years, this function happens. Or your youth, they come for the youth camps. So, see you soon somewhere. Hari Om. If there's any announcements? Oops.